Okay.
You want the microphone on?
Yep. Let's get some microphones on. All right. Oh, yeah. Hold on. I'll put them over here.
Are these different than this one?
Yeah, I have spares just in case one of them goes south on us. That's pretty good lighting. All right. Hey, Doc.
Yep.
How are you doing today?
Oh, if I got any better, my wife couldn't stand me.
Which one?
You wasn't supposed to tell that part.
Oh, well, you've been married 3 times.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. In essence, yeah. So anyway, we're going to talk about screw worms today.
Yep.
So what's the latest on the screw worms? I see they shut the border down again. And now the
did.
news media says there's millions of screw worms and it's this the world's coming to an end. Is that true?
Well, if they ignored it, it could be a huge issue.
Okay.
The thing is, it's in Mexico at the moment, and probably 20, 25 years ago, it's called the New World Screwworm, and it was in the United States originally.
That's quite a name. The New World Screw Worm.
Yeah.
That could be a movie.
And
Maybe it is a movie. I don't know.
The thing is that it's unlike other screwworms that flies that lay eggs and they hatch out into adult flies.
Like bottle flies.
Yes, these are far more deadly because if they get on a wound and they eat off the dead tissue, they don't stop. They just keep right on eating live, healthy tissue and this sort of thing. Where some of these blowflies, they'll eat the dead tissue and then they leave.
Yeah.
But not case with screwworms. And so it was eradicated in the United States.
Did you ever see any in your practice?
No.
No. Thank goodness.
Yeah. It was eradicated in the United States in the early 70s, and they had very strict controls from Mexico and this sort of thing to make sure it didn't get back in. Mexico also eradicated it, and so it was all well and good.
It was a joint effort between the
Right.
agriculture department and the agriculture folks in Mexico.
Right. And initially, they couldn't get rid of it using insecticides. And they developed a program. They actually took over a whole base, Air Force base, an old one that wasn't terribly big. And they would hatch out screwworms. And when they hatched, they irradiated them. In other words, exposed them to some radiation, and it sterilized them. And so they turned billions of them loose with these sterile screwworms going out and mating with fertile females. And the thing is, and if we only had that for some teenagers today, and
you're going to get sent to HR.
And the thing is, they had not been able to control them with insecticides and this sort of thing, and they developed this sterile screwworm program where these larvae would mate. The sterile ones would mate with the females, and
the flies, not the larvae.
Right, the
Yeah.
flies.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they laid eggs and they might have hatched or whatever, but it doesn't matter because they would never develop into an adult screwworm. And that program really was a major issue. And you talk about what that is. The USDA actually hatched out billions of these sterile screwworm larvae.
But this was back in the 50s or 60s?
60s.
60s originally.
Yeah, I think maybe 72 was when they totally eradicated it.
Yeah.
And Mexico, it took them a while longer. This, for agriculture, these screwworms is kind of a deadly disease if
It's terrible. I mean,
if you ignore it.
they've stopped the importation of beef into this country, which is kind of segue into our next conversation.
Right. And so the thing of it is, they did that, and I think it was in 1972. They eradicated it and this sort of thing, and Mexico eradicated it, and everybody's been happy ever since then, until a few months ago, and they discovered New World screwworms in southern Mexico, down around Cuernavaca and places like that, and so originally the United States closed the border to feedlot cattle coming up here and that sort of thing because they didn't want them drug into the United States. So, well, then it looked like
that might have screwworm larvae on them.
Yes,
which would be very bad.
Right. And so they did that, and they shut down the border, and it looked like Mexico had gotten control of it. And so everybody was happy. Well, the thing is, 300-mile north of Cuernavaca and those places down there, Mexico City, is they discovered they still had them. And so at that point, the USDA reactivated this sterilizing screwworm eggs to get it going. And you give you an idea, they've sterilized billions of them. I mean, they're just incredible numbers they've done, and they're not getting ahead of the problem. So they have taken another Air Force base.
An old one?
An old one that wasn't used for heavy duty stuff, but it was still there. And so now they've expanded this screwworm larva hatching into a second base where they're doing billions of them, and they're releasing them in these areas where there are fertile screwworms.
And they'll just keep doing that until which point
the
species in essence becomes extinct in an area.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
So that leads me, so we're going to get control of this situation.
Yes. Now they shut down the border again because they realize it's out of hand again. And it isn't that the USDA is putting down Mexico or whatever, because it's very much a joint effort between the veterinary services in Mexico and the USDA veterinary services to get
so it's multidimensional.
Control.
They're doing a lot of testing. They're looking. They're educating the farmers.
Right.
They're looking. They're getting the people in the feedlots engaged so that we're getting ahead of this thing.
In the meantime, the U.S. is not permitted to import Mexican cattle.
Yeah. So now that leads us to segue. I mean, beef. I love beef, but it's getting pretty pricey these days. So is that an impact? The ban on beef importation from Mexico, is that impacting the prices in this country?
It hasn't really gotten bad yet, but that is what's going to be the case, because they shut this down. And you think, why is prices getting so high? Well, the thing is, the beef industry for years was operating on minimal profits, and there's just simply a number of cattlemen that are no longer growing beef in the beef business. And so the United States is barely producing enough beef to meet the public demand for beef. And so consequently, beef's gotten very expensive. And if you want to buy like for instance, we would buy with my brother or somebody a half of beef each.
Put it in the freezer.
And process it and put it in the freezer. And right now, a beef on foot, it used to be you could buy one for $1,000. And
the last time I got one, it was $1,100, I think, something like that.
Well, try $3,500 now.
So there's a little bit of encouragement for people to start
yes,
adding some feeder steers out there.
But the thing of it is, you just can't flip a switch and suddenly you produce them.
No, it's
a year
lead
project.
Time minimal.
Right.
Now, do we have the infrastructure so that farmers are making some decent money on the beef, where they could add the infrastructure?
No question.
And they could add the production capacity.
Right.
So that the price is going to come back in line again.
The
Law of supply and demand.
facilities and that sort of stuff, most of them are still here.
Yep.
They just were sitting there empty.
Yep.
And so now they're getting back into it. And you take a steer, number one, they're used to grow them to 1,300 pound. Now they're growing them to 1,600 pound. And to give you an idea, buying a steer live is going to cost $3,500 to $4,000.
The farmer's
which
making
is
some money.
3 to 4 times what it was.
Yeah, but the farmer's actually making some money, which is a good thing.
Because for years they were just getting by with minimum, low profits.
Terrible. It was terrible, and so people got out of the business.
Right.
Now we have in the county, what do we have? Probably a half a dozen to a dozen feedlots, maybe.
There's several small operations around that might produce 15 or 20 steers. But
And
as
those
far
are
as
probably,
anything,
most of them are probably consumed locally, or people splitting them up, going for quarters and halves and what have you.
that's true. Now, major ones, there probably is only a couple of those where they might have 100 or 200 cattle on feed for
Now,
market.
is that to make money as a farmer feeding in a feedlot? What kind of scale are we talking about these days? I know in dairy, you got to have 700 to 1,000 cows if you're in a wholesale operation.
Right.
Well, Todd and Dugan Road they're direct to consumer, so they have a little different business
Right.
model.
Well, the thing of it is with this is that prices have gotten so high that they are gearing up to start producing beef again, and so farmers are making really good profits if they're already in the business and can step up production and things like
But
that.
a year from now, that may all change.
Well, it'll take longer than that, probably
longer than
3 years.
3 years. Okay. So then some of the smaller homestead type operations, 15, 20 steers, what have you, they're going to be okay.
They are, and they're going to make good money on them.
Yeah. Yeah. So how many acres would you need if you had, say you had 10 or 15?
Well, you probably would have cows and breed them either with a bull or artificial insemination. And it's a 9-month pregnancy, and the calves are born. And so that whole process with the 9-month pregnancy, and you want to grow them up to 400 or 500 pounds when they get sold to a feedlot. And we're talking about a year and a half to just get that back up to speed.
Yeah. So we're a couple of years before beef prices really start to equalize then.
Well, that's true. And I don't think they're ever going to get cheap again.
No. But beef is a great source of protein. And we're starting, I don't know. You hear a lot of things. I'm not quite sure whether the cholesterol in the beef and the fat in the beef is something that is a big concern still.
That is not an issue. There are some activists that would like for you to believe that, but that is positively not the case.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear because I love beef. Who doesn't like a really good steak? But a few people don't.
Right.
Yep. So, but we still have lots of meat in the stores, and there's lots of meat locally here.
Yes.
And when I say local, Champaign County,
Right.
that people can go out and share a half, and it's considerably cheaper to buy it direct and get it processed locally than it is to go to the grocery store.
That's right.
Yeah.
Although you go to the grocery store and you only buy what you want.
Right.
Whereas if you're buying the buying it and processing it, then you've got some cuts that are going to be roasts, hamburger, and different things
Some
like
of
that.
the last folks we used was out by Rosewood. They did a spectacular job, and I miss. Well, we've got some good butchers here locally too, so let's not cast any aspersions because there's some really great meat stores here local. Steve's does a great job.
Right.
They've got good meat. So.
And we're talking about Steve's Market.
Yeah, Steve's Market. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Steve Upchurch. Okay, so you've written a lot of books.
I have. This is a few of them that I've written, and the most recent one is it's actually stories of experiences over my career called Beyond the Barn, Dodging the Cow Patties for 50 Years by a Country Vet. And
who's a country vet? Do you know him?
I have no idea who that is. It's actually my evil twin brother.
Oh, you have one? Was he a basket case? No, I'm joking.
So that's the thing. That's the recent one. And that's not a technical book. That's a stories book of life as a veterinarian and on the farms and this sort of thing.
And you can get that on your website, vacaresources.com.
That's correct.
And
also
if you look
on
in the
Amazon.
description, if you look in the description here on YouTube, you can click on it and off you go, and you'll get a signed copy if you buy it off of his website.
Yes, but it's available on Amazon
Yeah.
as well.
And you can go to Amazon, but you got to type in the full title, Beyond the Barn, Dodging the Cow Patties for 50 Years as a Country Vet.
Right. And then some other books, and this is one of my current ones that's very popular, is refers to small swine operations that particularly with their children going to raise pigs to go for exhibition and that sort of thing. And it's the A to Z of producing pork for a small herd that might be 15 or 20 sows.
That one's only available from your website.
That is only available from my
Vaca
website.
Resources. And if you're in 4-H, you're 9 or 10 years old, 11 years old, and you want to start in with swine after you've had it, and you've shown a DVD there that maybe we can find a DVD player and pull some of that information and do short
Right.
snippets,
Right.
so we can put it online here
Right.
so people can see what we've got.
So this is, as far as I'm concerned, is really a good book, and you really get your money's worth because of not only the A to Z of raising pigs, and I'm talking about birthing and feeding and housing and that sort of thing, but it also is about showing the exhibition and different things like that as well.
Okay. And that's Doc Sanders Goes Whole Hog, and that's available from your website at vacaresources.com.
Yes.
Now, you've got a couple of books that are still in print also. Now, is Milk Them for All They're Worth still in print?
It is.
And that's pretty much the A to Z for dairy operations, correct?
Right.
Yeah, I got that. And you can kind of talk about it.
Yes. So Milk Them for All They're Worth is kind of the A to Z on dairy cattle management. And it actually sold pretty decently here in the United States. But the interesting thing is it was a bestseller in China, and we sold a lot of copies in China. It's been also, and that was translated into Chinese. It was translated into Japanese, and it's been sold all over Japan and Korean.
There's a bestseller, isn't it?
Yes, and Colombia, South America.
Kudos to Dale Thompson on that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was the guy behind that.
He was my marketing guy for years.
Yeah, well, I don't hold a candle to him, so not yet anyway. Okay, so sorry for kind of being off kilter today, but your internet wasn't working very good
Right.
in your place, so we're here at my location, and the internet's working a little better here in town.
Yes.
So, and we'll be back in on Friday. Now that you're feeling a little better, we're going to try to get out and visit. If you've got an operation that you'd like Doc to come out and visit, and we can come have a conversation live, please let me know. My contact information, you can direct message me off of YouTube, and we'd like to come out and see what you're doing. If you've got bison, if you're raising elk, I don't know. Well, there's a guy out on the way to Columbus. He's got 4 or 5 elk.
Is it elk or deer?
No, they're elk.
Deer.
Oh no, they're elk.
Okay.
They're elk. They're big rascals. And so anyway, and hopefully we're going to get out and see a young man who's has an incredible chicken and poultry operation going on, and he's did a good job at the fair, and get out and see some of these operations. It'll, be a good thing to
Right.
go look at
Right.
and get your input on it. So, well, join us on Friday. Look for an invite on Friday. They want me to come in and be a lifeguard. I'm a lifeguard instructor, so our kids have all gone back to college, so we're running a little thin at the Y on staff. So we're going to fix that soon, hopefully. But
Okay.
so we may be earlier in the afternoon. So we may be at 4, and maybe we'll just be here. So
Whatever works.
whatever works. So, okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you all soon. And you guys have a great evening.
You too.
Bye now.
Okay.